Okay, so I want to do a comparison video, and this one I really have been waiting to do for a long time now, ever since I played the game on the Mega Drive anyway, well, and the Amiga games. Yeah, so it's between the Amiga Turrican 3 and the Mega Drive Mega Turrican. Now the games are actually the same. Mega Turrican is just Turrican 3, just by a different name. The games are actually they're basically the same game, but the graphics are obviously better on one than the other, and obviously the sound as well. The gameplay is the same essentially, but yeah, I just wanted to compare these two games. I really like the Turrican games on the Amiga, as I say, and yeah, I'm not going to say any more because let's just get into the comparison. So what I'll do is I'll do the Turrican game on, I'll do Turrican 3 on the Amiga, then I'll do Mega Turrican. I keep going to call it Turrican 3, but it's Mega Turrican for the Mega Drive, and then I'll compare the two. So Turrican 3 is quite different to the previous two Turrican games on the Amiga. Now I haven't played Turrican 1, or have I? No, I don't think I played Turrican 1, I think I couldn't get to work. But I played Turrican 2, and Turrican 2 is really great game. It's one of those games, like I said, it's a platformer, like a run and gun platformer that really stands out, because some of these platformers, even run and gun ones, they just do not stand out for me. That's, to me personally, it really takes a kind of really good platformer to really stand out, and that's whether it's just like a normal platformer or a run and gun platformer. There really has to be something about it that just grabs my attention. So with Turrican 2, it had amazing gameplay. It's got amazing gameplay, but it's got this really unique thing, this really unique mechanic that I really like about it. Now you can run and gun if you want, but it's also got this like laser or laser arm that shoots out, and it only shoots out like a certain distance, and you can rotate the whole arm 360 degrees clockwise or anti-clockwise, and you can't do it while you're moving. So when you get surrounded by enemies, you can use this kind of laser arm and just swing the whole fucking thing around your body in the clockwise or anti-clockwise motion, and it's just freaking awesome. It really is just a really great game. Now with Turrican 3, they got rid of that, which I was pretty disappointed with, to be honest with you. It's a really unique mechanic, and I wish they kept it. It's one of the things that I thought, I know it's in Turrican 1, I know I haven't played Turrican 1, but it seems like it's kind of a standout, kind of like a standout mechanic for the game, for the first two games anyway. I was expecting it in Turrican 3 and it wasn't in there, so I was a bit disappointed. Now Turrican 3 has got this kind of grappling hook, or grappling like bungee rope. So what you do is he flicks out his arm, he aims where he wants this grappling hook to go, and then he shoots the grappling hook and you swing off it. Now the mechanic to actually get off the grappling hook, at least on the Amiga version, is slightly annoying. It's a bit convoluted. You can't, from what I can remember, you have to press up and then kind of let go of the bungee. It's really convoluted, you know, amount of button presses to get off the grappling hook and to swing onto another platform. Whereas on the Mega Drive version, it's quite straightforward. That's the only thing I'd say about the Amiga version in terms of gameplay. So they bought this grappling hook version and replaced it with replaced the laser with the grappling hook, which the grappling hook thing isn't really unique either. I mean, I can think of another game straight away that's got some grappling hook in it, and that's Batman on the Amiga. I know it's on other game, you know, on the Master System, on probably on the Mega Drive as well, but so it's not really a unique game mechanic. Other games have the same thing, so I think it would have been better if they just kept the laser arm thing. The graphics look a hell of a lot nicer and a lot more complex as well than the Turrican 1 and 2, and so there's a big step up in graphics. Not the best I've seen on the Amiga. It's not an AGA game, and AGA isn't going to make it look amazingly better than it already does, but it would give it a slight edge, you know, just that little bit extra. But yeah, it still looks really nice. Sound wise, the sound effects are good, but the music is kind of forgettable. Now the music in Turrican 2 is really memorable, it really sticks in your head, but the music in Turrican 3 is pretty lacking. Basically, it's not something you'll go away and start humming and remembering. Gameplay wise, it it's pretty solid. It seems like there's a lot more platforming in Turrican 3 than there is in Turrican 2, and yeah, it is a great game. It is an easier game to get into, I think. So Turrican, Mega Turrican, I was going to say Turrican 3 again, but Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive, which is essentially Turrican 3 but under a different name and is essentially the same game. What can I say about Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive apart from it is miles better? It's the same game, same level design, same graphics, same gameplay. I mean, it's just essentially the same game, but in the Mega Drive the graphics look a hell of a lot better. They honestly do look a lot better, and the sound as well. The sound is really meaty now. If you play a lot of Mega Drive games, you'll know it. You know, the system can produce this really kind of bassy, chunky sound, especially, you know, in terms of the music and the sound effects, especially the sound effects. And it really does sound a lot more the sound is a lot more meatier. It's got a lot more bass and oomph to it, and the sound is just a lot better. And like I said, the graphics are clearly better straight away. I mean, if you look at some of the effects when you shoot some of the enemies and they blow up and stuff, you can tell straight away that the graphics they're a lot more colourful, they're a lot more detailed. In the Amiga they look slightly washed out, and I mean, on the Amiga itself, I mean, you can adjust the colours of for the workbench itself, but you can't adjust the colour for the actual game. So, you know, in terms of the game on Turrican 3 on the Amiga, it is a bit more washed out colour wise, and Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive, it's a lot brighter, it's a lot brash. Like I said, the graphics in general are just really kind of jump out at you a lot more. And you know, if I was to pick my favourite version of Turrican 3, now I absolutely love the Amiga. I like the Amiga. Oh, don't get me wrong, I love the Mega Drive, but if I had to pick the two systems, I would pick the Amiga every single time. But out of these two versions of the games, if I had to pick one version, it would have to be Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive. Like I said, I love the Mega Drive, but if I had the choice between the two platforms, I'd always go for the Amiga, just because I'm, you know, really into the Amiga, that's all that is. But like I said, I do love the Mega Drive, and there's, when you compare the games and, you know, side by side, I mean, there's just no denying that the Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive is clearly miles better. I mean, like I said, the actual game, you know, running, gunning, shooting the enemies and all that lot, I mean, essentially it's the exact same, but it's just on the Mega Drive, you know, the graphics and the sound is definitely much more improved, much more detailed, much more meatier, brighter graphics, more detailed graphics, meatier sound, much more bassy, richer sound. Oh yeah, and on the Mega Turrican for the Mega Drive as well, as I said, when you aim in that grappling hook as well, aiming it is and shooting it to where you want it to go is essentially the same as on the Amiga, but actually releasing the grappling hook is a lot easier on the Mega Drive. It's just you know, you simply swing, you let go and you're on another platform. On the Amiga version it's a bit more complicated. You have to press up, kind of, as far as I can remember, to get off, to for your get my words mixed up here. You have to press up and the button to unhook the grappling hook when you've actually swung to the right place, and it is more convoluted. But then you have to, I suppose you have to think about that with the Mega Drive you've got an extra button. With the Amiga they would have been going on using 2 buttons and what was it, 1 button, can't remember now. But yeah, like I said, the Mega Drive Mega Turrican is the one I'll choose. It's clearly miles better. You can see that with the games side by side. So okay guys, in conclusion then, because I've just recorded the footage for both the games, and I just wanted to add a conclusion to the end of this video. Now, even though I prefer Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive over Turrican 3 on the Amiga, both the games do the actual core game really good, but both the games on the different systems, they both have things going for them, but at the same time they each trade something off for their, you know, good points. So starting with Mega Turrican, so Mega Turrican obviously has better graphics, it obviously has better sound and sound effects, and better controls, and that's great. But the trade-offs for Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive is that the levels are far shorter, the game runs slightly slower, and yeah, they're the trade-offs of that game. Now, Turrican 3 on the Amiga has other things going for it. It runs a lot faster than Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive, and the levels are a hell of a lot longer on the Amiga version. So they're the trade-offs. The Amiga version has longer levels, faster gameplay, and the trade-offs on the Amiga version is that sound isn't as good and the graphics isn't as good. So they're the trade-offs. Both great games. I mean, it's a shame that you know, both the games do have trade-offs, but it doesn't matter because they're both great games. But as I said, I prefer Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive just because it's just got that edge on the graphics and the sound. But as I said, it's got its own trade-offs. Doesn't run, the game on the Mega Drive doesn't run as fast, and the levels are a lot shorter. So there you go guys, Mega Turrican and Turrican 3.